You hear it everywhere, right? AI is going to change everything. But what if the data tells a totally different story? Well, today, we're going to cut through all that noise with a serious reality check from a Nobel Prize-winning economist. And let me tell you, he thinks the real impact is way, way more modest than you've been led to believe.
I mean, we've all heard the promise, haven't we? Our jobs, our economy, even how we're going to solve humanity's biggest problems. AI is supposed to be this, unstoppable, revolutionary force. It's a story that's pretty much impossible to escape these days. And deafening is a great word for it, honestly. It's putting it mildly. All the speculation gets so overwhelming, it's really hard to separate what's real from what's just, hype. And it can make you feel like if you're not constantly investing in AI or talking about it, you're somehow already getting left behind.
So that brings us to the big question, the really crucial one. If we just strip away all the talk, all the speculation, and look at the actual data, what does the real economic impact of AI look like, both right now and for the next few years? Let's just say the answer is surprising.
Okay, let's get right to it. This is the reality check. We're going to look at the data, because this is where the story really takes a sharp turn away from the hype and gets into the hard numbers. 1%. That's it. According to one of the world's top economists, that's the total addition to global GDP that AI is projected to make over the next decade. Yeah, not exactly the explosive, world-changing growth we keep hearing about, right? It's a much more modest figure. And what about the whole AI is coming for our jobs thing? Well, the data suggests that over the next 10 years, AI will only be able to profitably automate about 5% of all tasks. And that word profitably is key. Again, a huge disconnect from the whole narrative of mass unemployment being right around the corner. Now, before you think, okay, where are these numbers coming from? It's really important to know who's saying this. This isn't some random pundit. This is Daron Acemoglu. He's a Nobel Prize-winning economist from MIT, and he has spent his entire career studying technology and labor. So his work is grounded in some serious economic modeling and real historical data. So the big question is, why? Why the modest forecast? How could a leading expert be seeing a completely different picture from the one that's usually painted by, say, Silicon Valley? Well, let's break down his reasoning.
So what's really interesting is how he compares AI to the internet. Think about it. From the very beginning, it was pretty obvious how the internet was going to be a game changer for communication, for commerce, for just getting information. With the AI we have right now, that path just isn't as clear. Sure, we have these amazing tools, but we haven't really figured out those truly world-changing applications that create massive new value, the way online shopping or social media did.
And this slide really gets to the heart of the argument. See, AI is absolutely phenomenal in predictable situations, where there's a clear right or wrong answer, what the experts call a ground truth. So think about games like Go or complex but predictable problems like protein folding. AI crushes that. But the real world, it's messy. Most of our jobs need this unspoken, tacit knowledge, social skills, and the ability to make judgment calls in totally new situations. And that stuff is just so much harder for an AI to learn. And this leads to some really concrete examples. Think about the social nuance and strategic thinking of the CEO, or the contextual understanding a professor needs, or even the physical skill and on-the-fly problem-solving of a plumber or a construction worker. All these jobs are just packed with those hard-to-learn tasks that today's AI really isn't built for. And this quote from Acemoglu really hits the nail on the head. That's the key point right there. Real-world jobs aren't neat and tidy like a game. They're this complex bundle of different tasks, and so many of them need human intuition, social skills, and just a deep understanding of the context. You can't just automate one little piece of that and expect the entire job to just poof, disappear. Okay, so if the current focus on just pure automation is kind of limited, then what's the alternative? Well, this brings us to a much more compelling and honestly a much more valuable vision for what AI could actually become. And the goal Acemoglu proposes is what he calls a pro-human AI. So instead of obsessing over how to replace people, we should be focused on building AI that works with people. It's a really fundamental shift in how we think about this. So what does that mean, pro-human AI? Well, it's about designing technology with one goal in mind, making people better at what they do. It means using AI as a tool to augment our own capabilities, to celebrate human expertise, and, this is the big one, to help us create brand new goods and services that we couldn't before. And look, this isn't just some vague, optimistic theory.
Think about the huge challenges we're all facing. How can AI help us create better services for an aging society? How can it promote real financial inclusion for people who've been left out? Or help us tackle climate change? These are the kinds of areas where a pro-human approach to AI could create absolutely transformative value. Okay, this all sounds great in theory, but how do you actually make it practical? That brings us to our last section, what a smarter AI strategy looks like for leaders. This is basically the playbook for anyone who's making decisions about tech. And this quote really puts its finger on the problem right now. So many leaders are investing in AI not because they have a clear strategy, but because they're just afraid of being left behind. They're following the hype, they're feeling the pressure from competitors, they're investing blindly.
So here's the new playbook he proposes. First, just ignore the hype and what your competitors are doing. Step 2, and this one is so important, start with your own people. Go talk to them. Figure out how you can create new services and new value. And finally, use AI to augment your people's ability to do that, not just to automate them.
This is such a powerful idea to anchor the whole strategy. I mean, think about it. True long-term success never comes from just cutting costs. It comes from innovation, from creating new things that people want and need. Cost cutting is basically about survival, but creating new value, that's about leadership. And so that really leaves us with this final, powerful question to think about. If we shift our focus away from what jobs can we replace and toward what new value can our people create with AI? Well, that's not just a more optimistic way to see the future. According to the data, it's a much, much smarter economic strategy. It's really a challenge for all of us to think differently about what this technology is actually for.